You're on top of it today. I'll have to tell you.
Thanks.
Do you feel like you're on top of it?
I do. You know why? Because I have
Why?
more time on my hands.
Do you?
And I remember stuff versus before I had so much stuff in my head that I didn't remember anything you would like tell me to do because I had a million things of my own to do.
Well, ask to do, not tell you. Don't make it sound like I'm giving you chores to do.
Ask.
I feel like your energy's different, even with podcasting, because usually with the podcast, you're kind of
Because I come home from a long day of staging, and it's like mentally, it's hard to get there. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
100%. I totally know. You almost have to turn it on.
You do, and it's harder. I think it's easier for you to turn it on than me, just because of my personality, which I can turn it on, but it's harder for me. I have to like do so many things in my head to like get there. And versus with you, I think because you just have more experience with YouTube doing it, like once the camera's on, you're like, I have to be there.
It's almost like acting in a way.
I think so. Yeah.
But
It's less like, obviously like with acting, it's like learning lines and a certain mood, but yeah, it is. It's that mood. You have to be at a certain mood
Level too.
Tone. Yeah. Otherwise it's like,
But
nothing works.
But here's the hard part, and I know what you mean by it is, as soon as you get in the car to drive anywhere, from work, from
That's
a project,
when,
that lull and that downtime, your
Yep.
body's relaxing, that energy, that epinephrine is like
Yes.
wearing off. So when you walk into another place and I have to do this next project thing where I have
That's
to turn
true.
it on.
I never thought about that.
I've noticed it with me. I always try to reverse engineer like my feelings, my moods, my
Yeah.
mentality, and it's 100%. So
Yeah.
like all day today, it's been go, 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 go.
So you're still at that right now.
My epinephrine is still going.
Yeah,
my
versus if you were to
synapses
drive
are
here.
firing. Now that you and I are sitting down right now, if you were, let's say you left me here because I've been sitting here for maybe a minute or two, but if I was sitting here for waiting on you for like maybe 15 minutes, I would start relaxing and then I'll start yawning.
Yep. And then your mood would shift. Yeah.
and
that
it's-
makes sense. That's why I like that 20-minute drive coming home from working. It would like be enough to be like, oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Like we still have to do this thing versus like today I was just like running errands and had lunch out and was like, oh, like I'm happy to like come back.
Wait. Where'd you go for lunch?
Yeah.
Who'd you go out for lunch with?
Just a friend.
Just you.
Myself. I took myself out, like somebody would say.
So sneaky with like, because you gotta, I don't mean to like insult or anything, but you gotta be honest. So you went from transitioning to interior design,
Which I actually have probably like 5 or 6 projects.
I believe you.
right
I saw
now.
your sticky note.
Yeah.
I saw your sticky note on your
Well,
computer. By the
and-
way, did you write that sticky note for
Maybe.
me to notice? Did you really?
Well, I was like, he probably thinks I don't have anything going, but I do. I'm now at a point where I can.
That was a fighter jet that just went over our house.
It's a really loud airplane.
No, it's a fighter jet.
Yeah.
It's only
That
fighter
sounded
jets.
really close.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys caught it on the microphone.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think it's because, so I went from like staging where I had to leave the house and there was a deadline versus now with design, I make my own like deadline. So I'll tell somebody, hey, I'll get this to you by this time. And so now I know I can schedule like on Friday. Okay. And usually I like to have Fridays like my own like personal day anyway. But with staging that never worked because I'd always have to like do something. But okay. So what were you going to say?
Nothing. You know what I was going to say? Like you're playing this hybrid card. Because here's what happened. So before, what is it? How long ago did you start your business? 4 years ago?
4
years ago. So 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago, just when you're about to transition to this new job thing. In fact, was it 4.5? So 4 years ago, you were doing, no, I'm sorry. Did you start it 4 years ago or did you do both? Or did you quit your job?
I started it 4 years ago.
Okay. So you quit your job
So
then
like
3.5 years ago.
September.
So 3.5 years ago, then you quit your job.
Yeah. I think
Okay. So,
3.
okay, that's perfect. So 4 years ago, you started your thing. 3.5 years ago, you're like, listen, what am I doing wasting time at this 9-to-5 job? Like I can direct that energy to growing this thing. And the day you quit, you didn't do lunches. You didn't do personal days. You're like
Every
up
day.
early, grinding away, like the wheels are turning. You're like, you're
Right.
trying to get this thing off the ground, right? And a lot of it was trying to figure out a paycheck, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was I have to make at least the same amount of money as I did at my other job, if not more, obviously
To
wanting to do
justify.
more to justify it. But at the same time, it wasn't as consistent pay. And so I knew I had to hustle to get it to that consistent pay, I guess, if that makes sense. And so it was like, well, I'm starting this thing out. I don't want to fail. And now it's more like I'm getting these design projects that I'm like having, some of them I have to like, I haven't turned down, but I have to like, there's lately so many people have been emailing me about it. Like as soon as I made the decision to like close staging and only pursue design, I had like, it's like blown up. And so now I have to like figure out, okay, I can't do like 18 projects at once. How do I go about this?
You're figuring out how to scale it.
And at the same time, I did want a tiny bit of a break to between this transition, just to have like a little bit of you know how like after projects you take like a week off and have like a personal
week.
I feel like I needed that.
And that
like,
personal week is my personal week is, it's not that I'm not doing anything, because I'm not good at not doing anything.
No,
it's me catching up on
exactly. And
loose
that's what
ends.
I'm doing. I'm catching up. Like I'm taking stuff to like the dump finally, and that tire for you, and like all this stuff for you. No, and like even house stuff, like stuff I've been meaning to like hang up in the house, things like that, where I feel like I'm finally starting to catch up on those things, and it's making me feel like I can like do other things now. And so I have loved that, being able to catch up. And I know, you know what that feels like. So
yeah, no, it's a great feeling. It's just, I think with you, it's just what I'm seeing is, I don't know what the right word for, because you're like a good hybrid between a new career where you're just working from home to stay-at-home mom feel.
Yes.
Where
Well, 'cause I can make my own schedules. I can still go hang out with my friends. But also, this is how I justify it.
Listen, I'm not holding anything against you.
But this is how I justify it to myself. When I have a sitter here, I am 1000% working the entire day. But if I have Harper for the day, I can't really work anyway.
True.
And so those are the days where I can plan like to go have lunch with a friend, or like have a play date or whatever, because those are the days I'm home anyway, and she's not sleeping and I can't be doing work anyway. Right. So I'm like, well, might as well go like do something. And then at the same time, you guys have been working on that bonus room, and it's just like so loud and lots of dust. Is
that difficult for you?
No, I'm just saying like it's easier. It's almost easier for me to be out of the house during this time for you guys than not at the house.
I will say it's very, and you and I had a little run-in argument about it, and we got things figured out at like, what does it look like for us, and what are like the next expectations of each other kind of thing in like working and business and all that stuff. And I will say it's been really nice having you run certain errands for me, versus before those errands weren't realistic for you to run because you had your hands full.
Yeah, between everything going on, for sure.
So to be able to say like, hey, can you go cancel that? And can you call there? And then can you go get my tire for my trailer, changed out? And just those little things. Or can you run this to the dump because all this drywall from the demo needs to go.
I have that time now.
It's nice to just kind of delegate, and then, but also on your behalf, like it's nice that it's weird how to say it, but like you're receiving it with a good attitude. You're not like
no sour face.
Yeah, sour face.
Because before it was like, oh my gosh, another thing, which I'm happy to do those things for you, but like it would be this extra thing on my plate where I would, in my head, I'm like, I don't know when, I can't do that in the next like 2 days, maybe and so I'd feel guilty because I'm like. And
for context, like people need to understand, because I don't want to sound like I'm just this guy like hanging out orders to people with the guys that work for me and you. I'm like,
but you literally can't leave because you're working and you're
right,
recording.
But I think what a lot of people don't understand is, which my guys, they understand now because they'll always be like, I get it. Like Tyler will get ahead of a project in terms of ideas. So he's like, what were you thinking for this part? What do you think I'm gonna do? And I'm like, dude, I haven't even gotten started.
So he knows how I feel.
So you know how you feel, right? So like, because you'll always do that. You're like, what are you going to do there? And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't want to be there yet.
Give me 2 days before the project starts and I'll figure something out. And it's not that I'm anti-planning, but it's just because there's so many synapses that are firing in my brain.
You don't even want to go there yet.
I can't, because if I go there, I'm going to have to hold my breath. Like there's times I have to remind myself to just like, don't hold your breath. Just like, and so, but it's great because what's powering me is that epinephrine. Like it's shooting, it's this adrenaline, and that's why it's nice for me to like, okay, cool, we're done building. Kyle came in here and Kyle set up the podcasting setup, because I was like, hey man, can you go? So he set it up. So therefore I'm done with that. I'm still in my work clothes. I come in here, boom, 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 record. As soon as we're done, then the day's done.
Yeah.
Then the day's done, as opposed to me getting in a car driving, then relaxing. So there's no bandwidth. Like I just truly feel with like the whole waking up early and working out every day and eating right and just trying to like optimize myself to be stretched as many ways as I can. It's just at a point that there's truly no other place to be stretched. Like I'm not going anywhere. So it's really nice to be able to be like, hey, can you go do this thing? Cause that's one extra thing that I don't have to worry about.
I will say it does feel like a little bit sometimes like I'm not working even though I have these projects, because I have just more time on my hands. I'm like, should I be feeling guilty right now? Because I was just always go. I didn't have a second to do anything. And so now I'm like, oh man, maybe I should be on the computer right now.
Well, and this is part of the argument that you and I had, that I kind of had to recalibrate my thinking, because when you started your business, I was still working at a hospital and starting Mr. Builder. Like I was having a day job, a full-time, in fact, with a little bit of overtime day job, and trying to get Mr. Builder, the whole thing off the ground. This is before even YouTube even kicked in for me, I think. Yeah.
You're still doing Instagram.
Yeah. And because we were at a situation financial where I was like, listen, if you want the new rugs and if you want the couches, like I can't pick up more like side jobs or anything. It's like I'm already like doing 2 jobs right now. If not 3.
You were maxed out.
Well, technically 3, because I was doing Mr. Build It, I was doing the respiratory therapy, and then I was picking up side jobs like building for people to make money for tools. And so that's what really initiated, and we've shared this before, like you starting your business. But now that Mr. Build has been off the ground running, and there's, it's generating the income that we wanted to generate, it's kind of like at the point where I told you, like, I was like, hey, if you don't want to do this thing where you're operating a local business and the day-to-day stuff that, and just focus on internet, stuff, interior design and all that stuff, like this is the time to do it, because now we have the opportunity. There's no financial burden behind it. But what I had to recalibrate after our little argument about it is I had to kind of get myself out of the old mindset, because before,
it was like I had to.
Well, before, I feel like once I got my stuff off the ground, and then you were getting serious with your stuff, I was trying to pour any information and motivation into you and it worked. Like it seemed like you were just, you kept getting awards, recognition, you got all that stuff. But the problem I think I caught myself into is like I was holding you to the same psychotic standards that I hold myself to.
Which nobody can achieve those. You're the only person.
Well, I know, and there's other crazy people out there, but I think there is this realization that I have that there's people who are successful, driven, and there's people who are not. But there's also a different level, I think, of just obsessive compulsive people that success will always reach, because they're willing to not take no for an answer. They're willing to figure out and be the last hand on the car, So to me, I was almost holding you to the same psychotic standards, where it's like, I want you to eat, sleep, and dream about this, about your business. But that wasn't fair, because you're not programmed that way. And I wouldn't really wish that on anybody, because there's a certain part of me that's happy that I have that kind of gene or characteristic, because it brought me success. And I think I will always find something in life, whether it's YouTube or something else, where as long as I'm that obsessive about it, I'm sure things will figure itself out. But I don't think it's a thing that should be pushed on anybody with a different, especially when they're wired differently. Like your wiring is different. Like even the way you need to receive information, you need to sit on it for a second. You need to, when you're going to execute something, you need to process it first. With me, it's just like, I don't know, it's like firing a rapid fire shotgun. Like it's just like boom, 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 boom,
Gotta
boom,
make the decision.
decision, done, boom, boom, boom. Like and we've had this podcast.
The crazy thing is usually it's the right decision, which I don't even understand that.
And I don't know, but you know what? It's not that I know how to make the right decision. I know how to not make the wrong decision. And when you figure out which decisions are the wrong ones,
then
and then
it's easy.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like saying, do you want to, these are going to be very dark and, but
Oh,
just,
no.
no, but it's like, do you want to be shot square in the head, which that's instant death? Do you want to be poisoned, which is a slow thing? Or would you rather be placed in prison with the unknown of, potentially being, killed or whatever? Well, to me, I'm like, well, if I choose just shot in the head, yes, it's over with right away, no torture or whatever, because maybe you're going to be putting knives on my chest or whatever. But it's like, cool, like, well, that's instant. I don't want that, and I don't want to be poisoned because that's guaranteed death. Well, why don't we just take the whole imprisonment, and then maybe I can figure something out, like either prolong it or figure out a way how to escape or whatever, talk my way out of it. So that's kind of like, what's the least worst case scenario? That's how I make all my decisions. And I think I think that's a reality where it's like there's never a perfect answer, but there's the least worst answer. And that's I think
guess
the one
for me, so like for you, it's easy to figure. You're really good at quickly figuring that out, like critical thinking. Okay, like that is a bad idea. So I guess even though this doesn't seem like the best idea, it's the only option.
Correct. We have.
It's the best scenario.
Best worst case. Best worst option.
With me, it's like, well, what if that's not the only thing that we can do? What if there's another option? What if that happens, but then like something else happens? Like I create too many variables.
Now you're hoping
in my
for.
head.
Now it's not necessarily that what the best option could be. You're almost thinking, could there be a better option? Is that what you're thinking? Like you're like, am I missing something?
Sometimes, and then other times it's like I evaluate too many of the like the unknowns in that. So like when we were buying a house, it's like, well, for you, it was like, we have to get a house ASAP. This is the best one we found. Let's get it. To me, I'm like, well, okay, but what if something else comes up? Like when we're already in the middle of buying this house and then we find it and then we like that one more. Oh, what if like, I don't love this, whatever it was, like the backyard. And then like, what if a year from now we just hate living here? Like these things that play out in my mind versus you're like, well, no, this is the only solution to our problem. And I think about all
like
the variables.
Well, because the way I'm like, that's great though. You brought up that example. My process is like, I need a house for content. Boom. That's first priority. So time is a virtue. Okay. The bone structure of the house is perfect because we've seen a bunch of houses with low ceilings. I'm like, no, can't do that. I can't turn that into a dime.
There's the deal breakers for sure.
Yeah. And so to me, I'm like, okay, tall ceilings, good bone structure, and it's quick. Let's get it. I don't dwindle. And this is also like for like investments or like, that's why like even for gambling, like I'm not going to, if I'm up $200, I'm not going to sit there and be like, could we get 500? I go, oh, $200, let's get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, we found this house. It's got everything we need.
We gotta jump on it.
But it's not perfect. Let's get it.
I think I just try to wait for that like perfect too much. And that is what gets me into trouble because it's like I lose out on opportunities or I take too long to make a decision. And then it's like this.
Well, remember even when we got a buyer at our last house, which we got more than great deal, more than we're asking for. And it wouldn't pass appraisal because of what the rest of the house we were going for.
Appraisal and inspection.
We basically got the money because of the location and how well it was done, right? Remodeled. And even with that, I think there were some people who were like in our family that were like, you could have gotten more.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
well, even a realtor was like, there's somebody that might offer you more, and then I was like, oh man, that sounds tempting. And you were like, nope. Let's take the offer.
I was like, you can't get gready.
Yeah.
You get greedy, all of a sudden, it's a flip of a dime, you lost. Yeah. So to me, I make not best decisions. I guess I would acknowledge making good, avoiding bad decisions. That's all it is.
Yeah. That's a great way of looking at it. Cause it's like, I tend to want to make the best perfect decision.
Yes.
But if you look at it that way, like, well, let's not make the worst decision here and start from there. Yeah,
that's exactly what.
Because then any decision will seem great.
Well, then I think that's honestly a good application to problem solving when you go, okay, what decisions should I be not doing right now? Right. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do that.
Yes.
And sometimes when you still don't know, a good decision will be like, go for a run, clear your head, and then you might have those are a lot of, I just figured out how to approach these problems, and I just have a system of application. That's all I have.
And then you can do it quickly now.
I don't have intuitions. I don't believe my gut. I don't believe my mind. I just believe my process, and that's all it is. It's like that keeps me out of trouble. Well. So this goes back to like the synapses that are firing. Like I don't have the bandwidth because it's this whole rapid fire thing. So to be able to like ask you to go do these things and have a good positive attitude behind it. Now, I was actually gonna jokingly tell you, I was like, do you want to just be like, after I apologize for like holding you to like these like unrealistic standards that I hold myself to, I was like gonna be like, do you want to just be like my like administrative assistant? Where it's just like, I don't have to pay you because whatever money I make, you take anyways, you know? Like my YouTube check came in today. You already got into my account and transferred it to our account, which I always do. But
I was just doing you a favor. One less thing for you to do.
And I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate you doing that. But
no, I can be your personal assistant.
Yeah, but I don't have to pay you because the payment's already come in. I just
you can pay me in other ways.
I just ask for these, like errands for you to run.
No, and I get it. I think I understand it more now that I'm not. I think we've talked about this before, but it's like when we're both at 100, we can't both stay there because.
Somebody needs to be at 70 and the other person needs to be at 30. You know what I mean? No,
for sure.
Not to say like you need to be at 30.
No.
But like somebody needs to be at 50 and another piece. Yeah.
I thought you were joking. No, but it's true because if we were both at 100, laundry would never be done. House would be a total disaster. Kids would not be taken care of. They would feel neglected. Like there has to be that balance. And for a while, I think that's why also we're in this transition because for a long time, like when you were trying to figure out your YouTube stuff, I was go because my business was doing really well. Mm-hmm. And so I was making more of the, I guess, consistent income for a while.
You were providing for us for sure.
I was the breadwinner. And then it was that shift of like, oh, Mr. Build It, hey. And then that's another. So I've noticed like one of us, has to be like, or it's like we have to hire a nanny full time. And I would rather have time with my kids and have somebody watch Harper like a couple days a week while I can work. And it's finding that balance.
Well, this is even pre-Harper too.
This is pre-Harper. Yeah. It was always like that. And I think that's what makes it work. When you're both at 100, you're both burnt out. You're so exhausted. You don't want to talk and it's just too much.
There's a perspective people say like people have bandwidth, and bandwidth is basically the amount of energy that you have. And if it's 0 to 100, right, 100 being the most, if you're exerting all this and you only have 30 left, you're already running at 99% capacity or 100% capacity, and then you have other things put on the table that's requiring an extra 20 or 15% capacity. Well, you don't have that capacity to give without losing a marble. You'd have to give up that capacity somewhere else. Be like, okay, well then I'm going to wake up an hour early, and then you go, well, I had to open up some capacity somewhere, or I'm not going to go and work out today, though I want to, just to open up the capacity for something else. It's like,
and then
how
rude. Prussia Parlor. Wow, you getting some Boise, Idaho.
Yeah,
I like how it like shows people's names now because I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then it will say. Like, it says potential. Well, it says potential spam. Yeah. And then I've had one that says probably fraud.
Really?
It just says probably fraud.
I hope AI gets that good. Like there's down parts about AI, but that's one part of AI.
I was like, this is perfect. Because then it's like, I don't have to be worried about answering it. But anyway, going back to that, I think, you're exactly right. I think there's a certain, like for me, I'm like, well, if he's going at 100, I have to be able to pick up slack somewhere else. And so I'm like, wow, I finally, even though it was at like 10 o'clock last night, finally did laundry in like a week. By the way, it's nice having a bigger laundry room. Can fit more.
Well, we spoke about this, like maybe episode 5 of this podcast, where you're like, I want a bigger laundry. And I was like, all that means is it gets to accumulate more. You're like, no, it's not. And then and then all it is. So now like
the whole countertop is just like, it's clean laundry. It just hasn't been folded.
So like, cause that's what we do. So like I'll make an effort to make sure like if our hamper, it's called a hamper, right? Our hamper is full. I'll go throw it in the wash. It's like no big deal.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and but that, to me that means there's gonna be some clean clothes. You know what I mean? And so it's got to the point where I just go to the laundry room to get my clothes if I need like socks or underwear or something like that.
I'm like, dang it. Okay. Struggle, like, good, awesome. We have a bigger laundry room, but also.
And you're folding it still in our room. That's the funny thing about it.
Because I was trying to watch TV.
Oh,
So I wouldn't
do we
be
need to put a
bored.
TV in her?
Probably. Well, usually I'll like listen to a podcast while I
Right.
fold in laundry when I don't mind it. But I was like, well, I want to I have my glass of wine. I want to go
Listen,
like,
if
sit.
that's something that you'd prefer, like, is have a TV in the laundry room so you don't have to take it to the room, though the room is right next to the laundry, we can put a TV in there.
You put the boys' little ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But are you really gonna use it, or are you still gonna bring it in our room because you're like, I want to sit down on the ground?
Well, that was the thing. And I don't know if a TV would solve that problem.
Probably
but
not.
Yeah, I would say some days I am fine doing it in the laundry.
Because you know what we also have? iPads.
Yeah, that's true. But no, it was just more like I have my glass of wine. I want to
Sure.
sit and watch and kind of be doing
Suits?
something while I
And watch Suits.
Yeah, I was watching Suits. While I
What's your fascination with that show?
I don't know. You know what? I've always
First of all, what's the premise?
it's the legal system. So it's a bunch of lawyers and all the drama with
Within the lawyers, like their relationships with one another.
it's like a drama, and then like it has a like law stuff in there, which is
So it's like a cop show where they're solving crime, but the drama
no,
is
they're not solving crime. It's just like
Well, the lawyers aren't solving crime, but meaning they're doing cop stuff, but the storyline is really the relationships of the cops with one another.
no. Why are you saying cops? It's lawyers.
No. But I mean, it's like a cop show,
yes.
like CSI or something like that.
Yeah, it's like so the premise of the show is this guy who went to law school but ended up dropping out because he got like, I don't know, into drugs or something. But he's like super, super smart and has a photographic memory. He never got his law degree, but started taking the LSAT, I think is what it's called, the test you have to take in order to become a lawyer. Is it the L? Yeah. Anyway.
I'm sure L stands for legal.
Yeah. I just can't remember. Well, I'm not butchering it. Anyway.
Well, his bar exam.
The bar. That's
Yeah.
what LSAT.
LSAT.
Sorry. The bar.
Oh, you know what the LSAT is? Isn't there ACTs and the what is it? LSATs?
You're right. It's the bar. Okay.
Yeah, it's the bar exam.
So he takes it for other people and passes it, writes their name on it. And like, because he's so stinking smart and knows law.
knows law.
Knows the law. Anyway, law stuff.
Yeah. Etc.
etc. Anyway, and so he ends up, I don't remember what happens, but he ends up getting a job at a law firm without having a law degree because he's so smart and knows like the ins and outs of the legal system. And so the show is kind of like at the beginning of it is like him trying not to get caught, that he's not a real lawyer. He doesn't, have his license. Anyway,
so it seems like the same premise as the show Dexter, where the guy's like a fake
little
psychic.
different.
He's a fake
Dexter?
psychic.
No.
Not Dexter. What am I thinking about? He's a fake psychic, and he's a detective. He's partnered with a detective, so he's going around.
Psych.
Psych. That's it's Psych. Yeah. So he's going around fooling people.
Yes. Same. It's like fooling people, but this is more like a drama. So it's like there's a lot of it's just interesting. You know why it's interesting to me? Which I don't know if you knew this about me. I've always been super, super interested in the legal system and just
Why?
I don't know. I think it's fascinating.
I think it's
like
fascinating as well.
I always loved watching.
I think it's fascinating as well, but
CSI
I've never. No, but to me, it's weird that you've mentioned this after like 9 years of marriage because you've never really.
Well, I think
you've
that's
never
why
dug
I like
deep into.
that's why I think I like true crime because they dig into that.
So every white chick likes the legal system too.
I don't know, probably no. True crime is like a different level of it. But I remember I took a law class for fun as like an elective in college, and it was actually really interesting.
So
I've always just been fascinated with it.
Oh, interesting.
I think
is that why you worked at a law firm?
Yeah,
paralegal?
maybe.
All right.
Yeah. I just find it, very fascinating, and it's always, like you're very interested in stars right now.
Space and make-believe.
Space.
I don't say like you said right now, like that's gonna fade. Like this is a fad.
No. Well, I just feel like recently you started getting more and more interested.
I'm more interested because as an adult, I'm now showing interest in knowledge.
And I think that was what for me. I never
Right.
always loved the legal system, but when I was in college, I found it very interesting because it was like, this stuff is so interesting. This is like our legal system in the U.S. and it was interesting to know like how it all works.
Sure, yeah.
Not all, but like obviously don't know everything about it. Just most.
But I took an elective in college, so send me your inquiries.
What's the class?
Like what? Law 101?
Law, yeah, something like that. But there was another one I took that was
I've taken a class.
it wasn't the 101.
Like that.
It was actually like a
102,
very specific one. No, it was on. I can't remember what it was.
I do remember in college I took
criminal justice.
Criminal
That's what it
justice. I think you're
Criminal
right.
justice.
I think I've taken either criminal justice or some kind of class as an elective as well in college, and I specifically remember going over the O.J. Simpson trial case.
Yeah.
Where
Isn't it so interesting?
It's
though?
fascinating.
It's
yeah.
so fascinating, especially when I think it's always fascinating to me when people get away with stuff or there wasn't, what is it called? Like all the double jeopardy stuff.
You quickly
that stuff is interesting. When it's like a boring case, I'm like, yeah, but the stuff that like stands out, I'm like, that is so interesting that either that person got away with it or somebody was wrongfully convicted, all that.
Well, you start
stuff.
quickly realizing listen, you and I are not qualified to, make any conclusions about the legal system. I'm 9 episodes into Suits. I think I know what I'm talking about.
I know everything. Torts. Shoot.
Torts?
Yeah, that's a legal term.
For what?
I don't know.
But like, we're not qualified to answer. But you quickly do realize that it's a game that has rules established, and you have to play by those rules. There's
there's a certain way of doing things, even when it doesn't seem right.
Yes.
Or fair. There's a certain system that in process you have to go through. Anyway, I'm sure we're boring you guys, but I like Suits, and so I was watching that last night.
Yeah.
I was folding laundry.
That's good. We got laundry done.
And then we watched New Girl because we like to laugh.
And how many times do we watch that over?
It's so good every time.
5 times probably at least over. It was nice.
Guys, yeah.
It was nice. It's nice having, I want to say, the old Irina back.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
it was a rough January to not rough, but it felt very busy this whole year until right now.
Really?
And that's why it was whew, okay, it's good. And then to slow down. Yeah. And also I love this age that our kids are, and it's so fun with them. And so I don't want to miss out on that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to start crying. Look.
Yeah. I got emotional actually holding Harper. When was I holding her? I was holding her, feeding her a bottle 2-3 days ago. And I was like, I am going to miss you at this age. You and Beckham.
Already.
Well, you and Beckham. Jack was always that. He never really wanted and liked hugs. He's more of give him that quality time.
Yes.
So with him, the older he got, the cooler things became.
That was his love language.
He's let's do stuff. Let's go things. Let's give me
really
responsibilities. And nothing makes you happier seeing your child thrive. So you're yeah. But Beckham and Harper are the two snugglies, affectionate. You're I am gonna be so sad when you guys don't want to cuddle anymore.
Yeah. When they love to and then they don't anymore, it's kind of oh. But I just even yesterday when you were gone, we were I was finishing some stuff up on her shelves, and then the boys were just hanging out in her room, and they were just playing with her, and they're Mom, can you take a picture of us with her on the chair? And I was just you guys are so sweet together. I know that you're always gonna love her, but that dynamic will change a little bit as they get older. She gets older.
I'm not worried about that at all. In fact, today I was, I think the boys left their socks in the backyard for the last couple of days. So I went and got them, and they were on their screens this morning before school, and they were sitting shoulder to shoulder on one side of the couch. They're sitting.
Always. They always have to be next to each other.
And I keep seeing that every time they're on they always fight, but these non-verbals, when their brain's distracted, they're oh, you guys do like each other. It's just you're going through whatever you're going through, and you're fighting because the other person's bothering you. But when it's all said and done, you guys internally really like it and care for each other. And so they're just sitting shoulder to shoulder. And so, yeah, I'm not worried about their dynamic. In fact, I think their dynamic is only going to improve as they become teenagers.
No, I mean like them with Harper.
Oh, like kissing her and stuff? No, I think they're always going to be around her.
They're always going to kiss
I
her.
hope they don't kiss her when she's
No,
there.
I'm just saying like when they're older and she's older, they're always going to love her. But I'm just saying like this little innocent like bubble that they're in right
when
now.
they're not going to be rolling on the ground. Yeah, no, they're not going to do that.
So
But they will do
sweet.
other stuff where they're like, they're going to
will.
go
They'll
drive
take her.
together and stuff. And
I
that's
know.
to
I'm
me-
excited for that, but it's just like I know each milestone you're in is like it's just so precious. And I'm like, ugh. Yeah, it makes me sad, but I'm still excited for them to grow and
Develop and
become
grow,
their
yeah.
own little people. But yeah, they were really sweet with her yesterday.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of tears from me coming soon because like I said, Beckham and Harper, when those two are out of those stages, it's gonna be very difficult.
cuddle you.
Thanks. But you always get me hot. Like you always get I'm
They don't?
no, because they're little. Their body mass is little.
And I'm not little.
No, you're little. You look like a 5-year-old. Yeah, but yeah, it's nice. It's nice that life is slowing down enough. We've done probably one of the rare things that parents have done, like because every parent that has multiple kids knows that it's always go, go, go because there's always classes to take and they're in this league and that league and
Sports, all the activities.
You start realizing that you're not busy because you have a lot of kids. You're busy because they're all doing stuff. Oh, excuse me. It's me relaxing after work.
Wow.
Sorry. But you quickly realize that you get to this really annoying stage where you feel every single day you have to be somewhere.
Something going on, yeah.
And that's exhausting. And we took them out of jiu-jitsu for a season, because they're doing football right now, flag football. Both of them are. And it's kind of nice to know that like, oh, today's Friday. I don't have to go get the kids from school here in the next, hour and then rush them to class and then rush them home and then try to figure out dinner. It's just like, it's a little more mellow now. There's nothing today.
Yeah, I think
tomorrow they have a game. So it's
different when it's like,
by the way, it's raining tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to, do they cancel on rainy days?
they usually don't unless it's like thundering.
Heck yeah. Red State, baby. What's up?
I think they're still going to play. We'll just have to put them in their coats. But, yeah, I think it was just an important decision because we were missing it anyway. And it was like, well, let's take this summer because we're going to be camping a bunch. We're going to be just doing a lot of things. So it's like, well, let's just take the next like 2-3 months off to be able to enjoy and not be so like rushed everywhere. And plus, they're doing, I mean, their football's only on Saturdays, but still it's one less thing where we have to, every day it's like there's something
to go.
So it's nice because it's like now that it's getting warmer, we'll after dinner walk to the park by our house and let them play. And I think it's I love it because it's like, it feels very relaxing.
Yeah. I've said
the pace of life is nice.
I've said this, I don't know if I've ever said this, but I think in the last like couple of months, taking things off the table of things that I used to do, like it just opens up my schedule more and now, and also like our shooting content schedule and stuff like that. And when we record, I now feel like there's not too much stuff on the plate anymore. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it's go, go, go. Yes, it's busy, but it's like, there's a hard stop at 3.
Yes.
And that's,
It's those evenings when you're free to spend that time with your family. I have really been enjoying, or even like we'll sit out here and just bring our lawn chairs
in the driveway.
And they're just playing basketball. And I'm like, this is so nice. It makes me so excited for summer because I know we're going to have a lot of these days and nights and we'll be able to, take Friday off and go like to McCall for the weekend or whatever we want to do. So it makes me excited to know that, we'll have these more.
We're being intentional.
windows.
I think what we're doing is we're being more intentional
exactly.
parents. We're finding out a good dynamic. We have opportunities to, cut things back, whether it's time at work or whatnot, whether it's me taking a week off after a project or you transitioning to a different business or a different how do we call this? I don't know, because you're still doing the same thing, but different line of work.
It's like
you transition to what? A different line of business?
It's like a different I call it like avenue. It's the same business, but a different part. I don't know. It's hard to explain it.
Well,
because most people are like, wait, so you're not staging anymore? I'm like, so you're quitting your business? I'm like, no, just the staging side. So it's like, yeah, it's hard to explain it.
I used to be an avenue. Now I'm on a street.
Yeah. Live on the street, drive.
Well, it's been nice. It's been really nice. I feel like I've got my little bit of sanity back. It's nice to have you.
You're making me on now.
Yeah. Well,
Gosh.
It's okay. Yeah. I mean, I think we could we call her.
I think also what's made it nice, it makes it feel like we have our life more put together is now that the kitchen is mostly done.
Really?
I don't know. Like now that you guys are starting with a bonus room and I can like hang out in the kitchen during the day or like get myself lunch.
Making sandwiches.
I don't know. It just feels like it's like our house now versus before it felt like we were just in this like construction site for a little bit. So I knew that. I remember saying like all the time, once the kitchen's done, it's going to feel like more like it's our home now.
So right now there is a 14-foot wall up with drywall all over the place and texture all over the place.
It's still a construction site.
And this is the most construction site. And you actually feel still more homey right now?
I mean, like from yesterday. Today's a different story because I just came in the house. It was like, oh, it's messy. But it's fine. Like
we're shooting texture today for the walls on the
but I mean, like even yesterday, even though you guys did the mudding and stuff, it was a different space, not like the living space where we're like congregating. I don't know. The kitchen makes a big deal, I think.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting? And you and I kind of mentioned this passingly, but isn't it interesting how we've done segments on this podcast where like flip the space or what do we, is that what we call it? No, what do we call it? Space? Awkward spaces. And we'd give all this advice and opening things up but this is the first time the idea of closing something up and it looks bigger.
Yeah, it's because of the tall ceilings. It does look bigger. When I walk in from the front door, I'm like, whoa! It's like because the having the wall where you can see it when you walk in through the front, and then it has a stop too. So it's like
a header. Yeah.
A header. That's what I meant.
A stop.
A hard stop.
A hard stop.
It does, and because it creates this hallway, it does feel more grand, which is our keyword of this whole entire
grand. Make it grand.
Series.
Making it grand. It's absolutely. I feel like there's more. And so if you guys are like, what are you guys talking about? So when you enter our house, if you watch the house tour video, there's this like formal living room, and then the family room is like to the right once you pass the kitchen, and then like usually what it's at. And because nobody really uses a formal living room, we had the idea of just like closing it off, putting these ginormous 10-foot tall sliding barn doors, and then when they're open, it looks nice and open and welcoming, and then when it's closed, it's its own bonus rec room. And not to mention, we put a noise reducing materials inside, or noise canceling, noise reducing, noise dampening. Sorry, that's the exact word. Noise dampening. Materials inside the drywall in the studs. So if people go there, like even though you're in the kitchen, they're not close by. You know what I mean? Like it really muffles it.
And then closed off that window from the dining room.
The fake window. Yeah.
I call it the creeper window.
The creeper window, the peekaboo. Yeah.
The peekaboo window.
And it truly does. Like you close it off and you go like, whoa. Like this should feel smaller. But for some reason, I don't know if it's because the entrance is a lot larger.
Probably.
Like we didn't have like a classic 81-inch or whatever the size, 8-foot tall entrance doors. We did 10-foot, and it looks so huge. And to me, it also feels like there's more of a house. Like because
there's more to like walk through.
Right. Because before it's like you go to the left, there's bedrooms. You go to the right, there's the living room and family, or living room and kitchen.
You can see everything.
Yeah. You're like, this is it. But by putting that simple thing, like you're walking like, oh, what's here? And oh, what's there?
Yep.
This
there's
is another
like this
thing.
long hallway now where it's like, ooh.
Probably
like
one of the best decisions we made second to the kitchen.
It already looks so good. And you guys are cranking that out quick.
Yeah, we're cranking.
You guys just started Monday and it's already like a full
framing and drywall. Drywall takes a little bit long because there's different steps to mudding. There's like 3 days. But the framing part, we got fortunate. Listen, I'm very fortunate to work with these guys. Shout
out to the guys.
I anticipated 2-day framing, but we got it done in one day. I anticipated 2 days of drywall. We got it done in one day.
That's awesome.
Why is your phone blowing
I
up?
don't know.
Who's
It's
rolling?
probably no. It's the monitor.
Oh.
It's probably because the internet's too far away. Signal.
Guys. I was like,
Signal
who's
strength.
rolling?
No, that's a text. I think it's like a store.
Oh.
It's been a big week.
Is that what it says?
Yeah.
I hate when I get like text messages
know.
from stores. I'm
You're
like,
oh,
get out of my life.
stop. Yeah.
Yeah, so this has been nice. It's been nice. Hope you guys catch up on some of the house projects. The cabinet video is out, so if you guys want to see
What's
what
the
we did
next
with
one for the cabinet?
countertops and backsplash.
And then after that's the final reveal.
After that, it's finishing touches / final reveal.
Ooh, so what is that? What are we looking at? A couple more weeks?
So this next video will be out the 27th, so end of this month. And then one last video after that, which is going to be about 10 days after that. So we're looking at middle of June.
Nice.
To be completely, all the videos should be out. You guys will see. We already started in the rec
final,
room.
And then I'll do, if you guys are interested in sources, blog posts sourcing all of everything we used in the kitchen.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. You guys need to go check it out because from the hardware that she chose to the lights, I think they're all really cool options. You guys need to check. Oh, you should also link your decor because the decor that's on the kids, that's pretty cool as well.
Will do.
Cool. Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. Make sure you rate this podcast, share with your friends, tag us on the stories if you guys are listening to it. It's a lot of fun for us to reshare you guys, give you guys shout outs.
Yep. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.